Hey, Brent, how you doing?
Doing
I
good.
was just good. I was just curious, kind of where things stand now at offensive tackle, and then also kind of what you're doing with Kenny Cooper and how he kind of figures into things.
Yeah. Well, to start with the offensive tackle question first, we've got a lot of guys there that have played the position. We can have anyway at tackle. We've got several guys that can play tackle. And obviously Zach comes back. We've got Jordan Williams, who's a freshman and has done an unbelievable job so far up to this point. Then we have Jack DeFoor's played tackle before, Charlie Clark. So we've got numbers there that be able to give us good depth there as we go into the season. And then the second part of that with Quinney, it's good to have Quinney back out there, healthy and ready to go. And he's a guy that has a lot of experience for us. He's played both guards and center, and that's what he's doing right now. He's working all three of those positions.
What he was asking, Coach, was about Mikey Miniham and his progression, both at guard and possibly other positions on the line.
Yeah, Mikey's actually working at center right now as well as guard. Done a really good job at center. Obviously, probably the hardest position mentally to play across the front, in charge of setting the fronts and making all the line calls and putting everybody on the same page. And then the most important thing, executing the snap and getting the ball to the quarterback. And between him and the quarterback being the two guys on the team that actually do touch the ball every single play, that is the most important thing for him. And he's done a really good job. He's settled in. He's got a lot more confidence out there. Just really excited to be able to put the pads on when the time comes, and really see him out there and doing the things he has to do as far as a blocking standpoint and getting movement at the point of attack.
Okay, next question, Daniel Shirley from The Athletic.
Hey, Brent, I wanted to ask you about the freshman offensive lineman. How are they looking? And specifically about Wayne Green and his size. Is that the kind of size that you guys are looking for when you're recruiting now?
Yeah, 6'7", 300 pounds. Yeah, of course. All of them are doing well. It's a hard position to come in and play early. Just from a size standpoint and a maturity standpoint, being in the weight room, those things. The guys that were here in the springtime obviously have a little bit of an advantage on that because they were here for 7 practices in the spring and in the weight program in the winter. So they have a little bit of a heads up, I would say. But all of those guys have done a good job up to this point of learning the offense and then being able to go out there and compete. Whether it be Wing, Jordan, Ryan Spires, Paula, and Mike Rankins.
Next question is Ken Segura from the AJC.
Hey, Brent. I was wondering, just with being in helmets and shorts, like kind of how do you do things differently, and how do you see, is there kind of a schedule for if you guys are able to go on to get into pads and full pads?
Yeah, Coach Collins has done an unreal job of really being in the forefront and being out front of this whole thing of making sure that our team is safe, our coaches are safe, everyone's healthy, tries to and working to stay healthy, and that's the reason why. We could have been in pads last week already, and just his vision of protecting the players being the number one priority in our program right now, it's kept us in the shells part a little bit longer. For an offensive lineman and an offensive line coach, obviously the physical part of it is not there as much, but the mental part is what you really stress right now. It's the fundamentals and the mental part. And it's an O-line coach's dream, really, to be able to have that much teaching time and then able to watch film of it and see those things and then be able to correct the small things before we do get the pads on. Because once you get the pads on and you start blocking and tackling and things go live, the fundamentals are the things you have to stress the most and are the easiest to get lost in the mix, especially for younger guys. So that's what we've been focusing on right now is footwork, hand placement, eye discipline, landmarks, all those things. Communication up front.
Next question, Zach Klein from WSB.
Hey, Coach, appreciate you doing this. There's been so much talk over the last 24, 48 hours about everything crumbling down. Big Ten reportedly has canceled their season. Just your thoughts on the ACC, how you guys sticking together, and do you believe your kids are safer in a Georgia Tech system than they would be without football out on their own? Sure. Just first, do you think your kids are safer in a Georgia Tech football environment than they would be without a season out on their own? And just your thoughts about the reports of other conferences already shutting down, like the Big Ten, for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Okay. So, it'd be real easy to sit up here and say, we're focused on what we're doing and our eyes are on what we're, trying to accomplish and work on, because we've got so many things we do need to work on and get better at. But in this day and age, everyone has social media. Everyone sees social media. It's on ESPN. It is out there. So really what we've done is, we're addressing these things and we're talking about it with our players. We are, sorry, there's some music cut on, but and we're addressing those things with our players. We're talking about it. Now, we do have to worry about ourselves and put ourselves in the best position to be able to go out and practice every day. And right now it's taking it one day at a time. And I'll meet with my guys later this afternoon. And we had good communication through the night last night with the guys on the offensive line in my position. And, everyone sees it. Everyone knows it. But the challenge is just continuing to work on what we're doing and taking it one day at a time and, tell them to be where their feet are. That's the best thing we can do right now.
And do you believe your kids are safer together as they would be just out on their own if you guys were to, cancel the season, just in terms of the testing and the health, what you can do to keep them safe and the training tables, et cetera?
Yeah, all we can really do is know what we're doing here. And we know we've put all of our guys in such a safe environment, whether it be the protocols that we have in place for practice, for meeting times, the food that they're getting here, which our training table, our cafeteria has done an unbelievable job of preparing meals and getting the meals to these guys. It's a little bit of a hypothetical question to ask how they would be and the safety that they would have away from here, but we're very confident in the safe measures that we have here and we've put in place for them to be able to make sure that while they're here, that they are in a safe position.
Thank you. Okay, we have time for a couple more for Coach Key. We'll start with Maria Martin from 11 Alive and then Jeff Schultz from The Athletic.
Coach, thank you. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
So I want you to comment about the "we want to play" movement, because you're a guy that's, really active on Twitter. You've even said it yourself and you've retweeted a couple of players that have put that out. What is it like for you to watch your players have a voice in this whole thing and really express that they do want to play football right now?
Yeah. Well, it was my daughter Harper that actually said that this morning on Twitter and Instagram. So she has her own voice too, but I do, and I can speak for the offensive line and the guys that I'm around, and Coach Collins also has made a point to allow our guys to have a voice and be able to speak up, whether it be about social matters that are going on in the world, whether it be about football, and to speak their mind and have input, and that's something that doesn't go on everywhere. And so I think we're in a special place right now in this environment that we're in to be able to allow guys to have a voice. And the guys that are supporting each other and talking about wanting to play, I'm all for those guys. And it's important that they do have a voice, but at the same time, it's important for guys that might have concerns and might have safety questions to be able to voice those concerns as well. So you can't just look at one side of it and say, this is what we want, when we are promoting an environment for our players to be able to speak up and have a voice.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Final question for Coach Key, Jeff Schultz from The Athletic.
Hey, Brent. And just finishing up kind of on the same topic, if we continue to go down this road with the Big Ten and the Pac-12 canceling, and as for now, the SEC and ACC, moving forward, we're not really sure what the Big 12 is going to do, but are you at all concerned for the optics of it or the legitimacy of a season if a couple major conferences don't decide to play, but a couple decide to go ahead and play?
Good question, but way above my pay grade. Those decisions are made, way above the level of assistant coaches and coaches in general. Obviously, if they put us in a position to go out and play this year, it'll be under the assumption from our standpoint that all the safety measures have been taken into account and that we are in a safe place and that we are in a safe environment. And, I think the safety measures that we talk about, right now with, what's going on in the world and the virus that's going on, it's it really entails what we do all the time with our players as far as trying to put them in the best way to practice, whether it's the best way to tackle or the best way to block. You're always trying to take players in the game of football and put them in a safe place because it is a violent sport. And so if those decisions are made that we play, we'll be fully confident in the decisions that were made from up above that we're going to be in a good position to go out there and play within our conference.
Starting with Jack DeFoor, senior offensive lineman. And we'll go ahead and open it right up for questions for Jack. And the first question will come from Rod McKenzie from 247 Sports.
Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Not bad, thanks. Hey, in your career, you've played a couple of different positions along the offensive line, and it looks like that may be an option again this year, even though you were entrenched at left guard most of last season. Do you have any preferences, and what do you see from some of the changes on the offensive line?
Yeah, obviously we didn't get a Devin in like we thought we would have, but yeah, that's the reason that Coach Key cross-trains as much as he does, and I played a lot of tackle last year before getting into the season, so I'm pretty comfortable there, and I really don't have a preference. Wherever I'm needed, I'll play, so it's not a big deal. And we got some good tackles that are ready to play as well with Charlie Clark, and a young guy, Jordan Williams, is looking really good, so we're not really too worried about it.
Next question is from Kelly Quinlan from Rivals.
Hey, Jack, I was just curious kind of how camp's gone and what it's been like for you guys with kind of the different situations. I know being an offensive lineman, it's a lot different in terms of spacing and those kinds of things, but just kind of what the experience has been like for you.
Yeah, well, we're very fortunate to be a part of the program that we're a part of because of how much they care about the safety and the caution, and really they've handled it the best way possible. I mean, if you come to our practices, we're pretty much socially distanced the whole time unless we're taking reps, and I think that we're handling it the best way possible, and everybody has a really good attitude about it and comes to work every day like any other camp. So we're blessed to be here, and I think it's going pretty well.
Next up, Ken Segura from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Hey, Jack. I was wondering, obviously there's, you guys are, in camp mode, but obviously there's a lot going on around us in terms of whether the season's gonna be played and so forth. And I'm curious, how much attention do you pay to that, and how do you kind of compartmentalize that as you're continuing to try to look at the season ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody's paying attention to it, being on social media and watching TV and everything, but really we just have to worry about control the controllables, like the coaches say all the time, because I mean, it's so far beyond our control, and I think if we play, I think most people would really do want to play, and we have to respect the people that don't. But I think we're ready, and I think the majority of us do want to play.
Next question, Jeff Schultz from The Athletic.
Yeah, kind of along those same lines. I mean, could you foresee a scenario in which, I mean, a couple major conferences like the Big Ten and the Pac-12 don't play, but the ACC and SEC decide to play? And would you be okay with that? Would you feel kind of weird about it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I would be fine with it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just playing the game. Like that's what most people want to do. I mean, what the Big Ten does, what the Pac-12 does, that's really out of our control. But if we can play, we want to play. So it's really.
Next question is from Zach Klein from WSB TV.
I appreciate you doing this, my man. Do you feel safer in the controlled environment that coach has for you guys with the testing and the protocols in place than you would if the league shut down and you're on your own with your other students kind of outside the bubble you guys have created?
Yeah, personally, I do feel more safe here. I feel like Coach Collins and everybody have set up an environment that's really safe for everybody. And if we go back home, I'm sure like guys aren't going to be as safe. I mean, that's just like we're immature like kids at the end of the day. So we're made to be safe here. At home, we're really not. So that's just my personal opinion.
All right, time for one more for Jack, and we've got a follow-up from Rod McKenzie from 247 Sports.
Hey, Zach, you've had a chance to play in the spring next to Mikey, moving over to the center position a little bit. What are you seeing from his progression, and how's he doing with the calls and that type of thing?
Yeah, I think he's progressed a lot since the spring. He seems a lot more comfortable. He's more comfortable making calls and more confident in making calls, and yeah, he's done a really good job. His technique's gotten a lot better, and I think he'll do a good job if he stays there.
Okay, last but not least, we have another offensive lineman, Zach Quinney, and we'll open it right up for questions for Zach. And the first question comes from Kelly Quinlan from Rivals.
Hey, Zach, I know you spent a lot of the spring trying to learn right tackle. I imagine now you may have gone back to your more natural left tackle position. Is that kind of what's going on, and kind of what's your comfort level with what you guys are doing now?
Oh, well, I feel really comfortable. Coach Key, as everybody knows by now, he likes to really cross-train guys. So really ever since I've been here, I've been playing right and left tackle. In the spring, it was more of an emphasis on right, and now it's a little bit more of an emphasis on left, but it's still going both ways. So that makes me feel really comfortable at both of them. And like if I do more reps one day at left, then I'll do extra at right later on, and just try to get comfortable at both. So no matter what happens, then I'm ready to go.
Next up, Rod McKenzie from 247 Sports.
Hey, Zach, you got some younger tackles, that haven't really gotten a chance to show what they have yet. They might get that chance this year. You got, Charlie Clark, and you have the freshman, Jordan Williams, early. What are you seeing from those guys?
They're doing a great job. Charlie, as always, ready to learn and doing great in practice and in the film room and everything. And from the freshmen, what's really impressed me the most is just the willingness to learn. So, I get questions from them all the time. If it's something that we're away from Coach Key, like they'll text me, they'll come to me and ask, what do you do on this and this, just really wanting to learn and wanting to get better at the offense. And I think that's huge. That's the first step. And we're getting the technique down, but really just that willingness to learn is what's going to help them a lot.
Next up, Jeff Schultz from The Athletic.
Hi, Zach, kind of following up some earlier questions to your teammate. There's a lot swirling around college football right now, obviously, in terms of whether it's going to move forward or not. It looks like the Big Ten and maybe the Pac-12 probably are not going to compete this year. At least that's the way things are thinking or leaning. Could you foresee a scenario in which the ACC and the SEC go ahead and play anyway? And if so, would you feel weird about that? Would you be okay with that? Just sort of what are your thoughts about the whole thing?
Well, honestly, if that were to happen, I would love that still, as long as we get to play the game we love. That's really what it comes down to. If other people don't want to, then that's all the respect in the world to them. Understand completely. But I feel like the majority of us, and me in particular, I'm ready to play football, and no matter how that has to happen, it's fine by me. So, yeah, no matter what scenario ends up coming up, that's fine. I'm just ready to play.
Next up is Zach Klein from WSB TV.
Nice name. Appreciate you, Zach. Question is, the guys around the country coming together, college football players, which this hashtag we want to play movement. Your thoughts on some of the prominent guys in the country voicing their desire to play. And you said you guys want to play, but it might be out of your hands. Has there been any thought about coming together, talking to coach, kind of running up the food chain, letting the administration know that we are all in, we want to go?
Well, yeah, first of all, I think that it's very important that student athletes do have a voice and are able to state their opinions, and whether that be on social media or to the coaches or whatever the case may be. But there's really no doubt in my mind that our coaching staff has our best interests at heart. We've talked to them, we've had conversations. They know what we want, and they know the best route to take to get us there. So right now, to answer your question, yes, I think it's very important that we have that ability. But for right now, we just need to control what we can control and be ready to play.
Thank you.
Next question from Ken Segura from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Hey, Zach. I'm curious, like before, I guess, you came back to campus and maybe even since, like how great, I guess, what were your concerns about the virus? And I mean, I hear you saying that, you feel like things are safe, but like, did you need to be kind of convinced or what was that process for you?
Well, for me, just kind of, I guess, the same as everybody, just looking at social media and everything and following it all the way through. Me personally, I feel like I took it pretty serious the whole time. And even at home, we never really knew when we were going to be able to come back. So we were all taking steps to social distance and to be ready to come back and play. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that really all of us are taking it really serious, and we have been. And I think that's important. I think that's why we've been pretty successful and with all this going on. And I think that's the way it'll continue to be.
Okay, there's time for one, maybe two more with Zach before he has to get a lift in. So Maria Martin from 11 Alive is up first.
Hey, Zach, you got me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so for those of us that are not student athletes, I want you to try to paint the picture of why it would be devastating to not have college football and why it is so important that you guys are pushing to play this season. We know the obvious reasons, but I just want to hear it from a student athlete perspective.
Well, personally to me, the reason that I want it so bad, and I know all of my teammates do, is it's really the sport that we've grown to love, our entire lives. And we've gotten very used to playing, and this so far has been very different, but I feel like we've taken the proper steps, and even out at practice, we're prepared to play. We feel like it's better to be prepared to play than be unprepared. I mean, to be prepared and not play than be unprepared and end up having to play. So we've been going out, treating every day like there will be a season for sure, and hopefully that happens. If not, it's out of our control, but yeah, just for us, I feel like it is very important that we play just because it's the sport we love.